What's up? Got a video for you, and there's a lot of great records here this week. Can't wait to get into it. So thank you so much for watching. This is Vinyl Happy Hour. I am Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records here in Rockford, Illinois. Also of CultureShockShop.com, where you can find all or most of the records we're discussing here on this episode of Vinyl Happy Hour. So we're going to jump right into it. If you've been keeping up with our weekly shows, we like to broadcast, or talk, I should say, about our 5 top releases of the week. And this week, all 5 records that we're showcasing are Indie Store Exclusives, meaning there's certain variants or colors that are only available to independent record stores. So I like to have a little drink and show off some of these goodies. This is my Third Man Records, like custom-made whiskey glass, like stone-glazed, really cool glass from Third Man Records, actually. In this one came from the Nashville one, actually, but Jack White of the White Stripes has his own record label called Third Man Records, based out of Detroit, which is where he's from originally. Of course, after the White Stripes, he's gone on to do some solo work now. Amazing guy, got a lot of cool stuff going on, just a great recording studio, cool record stores, and his solo albums now, his 5th solo album is out, and this is the 2nd one he's dropped in 1 year, so this is Entering Heaven Alive. And there's a lot of cool little details I want to show off about it. The first thing, before I forget to mention, is it is a slightly larger jacket than most records. So it's like a 1/2 inch or less, a little bigger and wider than most standard record jackets. So that's interesting already. The artwork is very cool too. I've been so busy with life and so busy with the Culture Shock record store and all the new releases and used vinyl coming in, I can't keep up with everything. So outside of ordering things and just enjoying and checking out some of these records, I don't know the story on the artwork on this, so I definitely want to get into that and find out more about it. But this is a special color vinyl too. This is for indie record stores only. And let's see, where's my little hype sticker? Oh, it's right on there. So this is actually not just blue or blue marble. They're calling this limited edition Detroit denim colored vinyl. So Jack White is very proud of the Detroit area and has actually reissued and brought out a lot of bands from the Detroit area, or reissued rarities from that area. So it's really cool to see his record label not only putting out his own stuff, but producing and recording a lot of things for other bands. He's also a preserver of blues music. He loves blues and bluegrass. And what's really interesting is on this album, it rocks, don't get me wrong. There's definitely a lot of stuff that's just good rock and guitar rock, but there's some really blues and even a couple bluegrassy feels to a couple, especially on the B side, I noticed. So you got side 1 with the big black mark. Oh, side 2, okay, so I'm just now, see, there's so many little details. Like side 1 and side 2 actually just shows like 2 of the 4 bars, so this must be foreboding that there's more coming, like this is part of the next series, which I think I did hear he already has another album set to be coming out. So this is his 2nd album in 1 year, and he's only done 5 albums here in the last quite a few years, so he's really on a roll here. I don't know if the pandemic's got him going or if he's just musically inspired, but you also get an insert with more of the inner sleeve, has some really cool historic looking photos. Don't know the story on it, like I said, I'm just kind of showing off some of these Indie Store exclusives. Here's your lyrics. Just a really great listening album, a highly well-recorded album in his own studio too. So he's got the studio, the mastering, pressing plant, everything. This is all through Third Man Records. Just a great release. Really excited to see Jack White put something out already. It's only been a few months since the last album. And really cool to see him doing an Indie Store exclusive. I like to theme everything with my little Vinyl Happy Hour shows, or with what I'm listening to or what's going on. So I actually decided, even though this isn't from Detroit, this is a Buggy Whip Wheat Whiskey from Journeyman Distillery. It's a special limited edition. This is actually from 3 Oaks, Michigan. But I was just like, you know, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Jack White, let's theme it together. And I've been looking for a reason to bust this bottle open anyway. Really good. It's like this wax coat seal. Very cool info on the back. It's only 90 proof, so it's a nice, smooth, easy one to sip into. Just a little bit of a spiced fruit, easy feel. It doesn't burn too hard on the mouth. That's why I like those lower proof ones actually. But so I'm happy I got to bust that open and have a nice drink, like a nice adult listening to some good records. And speaking of being an adult listening to records, let's talk about Dawes, Misadventures of Doomscroller. I thought it was Misadventures of the Doomscroller, but anyway, Misadventures of Doomscroller. So This is Dawes' 8th album. And you know what they say about the 8th album? It comes after your 7th album. And that's about all I can say about this. If you know Dawes, you know their sound, really cool, silky smooth, kind of folk rock, indie rock stuff. And I have now all 8 of their albums. I'm actually a big Dawes fan. I dress the part too, you know, I got the khakis and the button-up shirt. I just feel like in a nice way, not to belittle them. It's just a chill, easy listening, like dad rock, indie rock, mellow folk rock, got that kind of the hills of California chill vibe. And it's a great album. It's so smooth. There's a couple little smooth, silky smooth guitar solos that just kind of come in and wisp in after kind of some of the nice soft vocals and nice soft songs. It's chill. I mean, Jonathan Wilson produced that. He's also, you know, known to do that kind of smooth, just chill guitar rock. It's kind of like what we would call like the adult rock, you know, kind of radio rock, just very chill, easy, you know, even along the lines of, not to say that that's a bad thing, like the Eagles or something like that, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or something. Just that good Americana indie rock. So Dawes have been doing that for quite a few years, and they consistently do great with it. The new album actually has a nice gatefold, nice thick gatefold. Obviously, Doom scrollers have been happening, a lot of weirdness going on in the world the last couple years, so they play into that. This is another Indie Store exclusive. This is a translucent orange vinyl. So it's cool that they've also, most of their albums have been available as an Indie Store exclusive. So the other thing to note about a lot of these Indie Store exclusives, just records in general, have been selling out or very hard to get represses done. There's just so many records waiting to get done and pressed, both new albums and reissues of older albums. So get them when you can. It's also interesting to note this week, I was able to pull 5 brand new releases from new artists. And a lot of reissues have been coming out, and there's no lack of that too. This week, even though I'm not showcasing them any, there was, you know, reissues of like Danzig and stuff. There's some metal, there's some great jazz pieces. I just don't have time to clip them all in, listen to them all, and do a quick video for you. So that's why you should be subscribed to this channel, of course, and to our social media. So check out Culture Shock Clothing and Records on Facebook, or Culture Shock _ on Instagram. We give you a little more of an update there too on what's going on with our new releases. Here is a great girl who just put out a new album, and this is like a kind of a sleeper. A lot of people may or may not have heard Biba Doobie. I mean, that name, it's a little hard to get over at first, but once you do, it's really good. So she actually has, let's just show them off real quick. This is just, this is Coke bottle clear. So it's kind of like this milky, darker green, kind of clear vinyl. This cool hand-drawn art. I forgot her name. What is her real name? I forgot offhand, but she just goes by Biba Doobie. She is a Filipino-born person who grew up in England and just has only in her 20s still. This is only her 2nd album. A really cool album though. This is actually, you know, if the Jack White album is my like indie rock pick of the week of someone who's been really doing a lot of music, and then the Dawes is just my mellow chill thing. This is the one that's probably my favorite release of the week though, just because I really get into the grooves of this and just that mellow sound, but there's some mixtures of 90s stuff in her sound even, almost like 90s kind of just pop punk in a way. But most of this is what we call like a bedroom pop, or just like this really dreamy indie vibe. So I'm showing off, this is the, let me not get these mixed up. So this is the Coke bottle clear version of her album Beatopia. And then we have the Indie Store exclusive, a different color, neon green. So this is the neon green one, and that's the one I'm gonna pick just because I love when an artist does an Indie Store exclusive. Let's also check what's in here. There's like a little bit of a poster and stuff too. But I just really like, some of these songs are just so intimate sounding, just so nice and chill, and just a good little dreamy vibe. Just more continued artwork with the lyrics on the B side of the poster inside. Just a great release, great sounding recording. I can't believe how many musicians are working. This is a big list of all the musicians working on the album. There's some guitar, there's a lot of electronic and kind of synthy stuff. It's just got some kind of dubby little vibes even, but I don't want to compare it to a lot of other, you know, female artists or anything like that, but it is just a really great, smooth listen, super chill, down vibe. I like it a lot. So that's kind of like one of my favorite releases of the week. Kind of a surprise release. I got into her very late. her first album was highly acclaimed, and I didn't really catch on to it till, you know, a year or so after it had already been out. But I got on top of this new one when it came out. I'm glad I did. So we're going all over with some different vibes here and different feels. This is the new release from Black Midi. Really cool gatefold album. I believe their third album, another English group here, and hard to explain their sound. It's also interesting, they had a sticker on the sleeve and then they give you an extra sticker. It's just the Black Midi logo. And the name of this album is Hellfire. And this is an Indie Store Exclusive. See, I feel like they kind of missed. I feel like they kind of missed a little tongue-in-cheek thing here. They're calling this transparent red vinyl, which is cool. I'm glad they did the Indie Store Exclusive, but when the name of your album is Hellfire, oh, come on now. I think this should have been called Hellfire Vinyl. That's my opinion. I like when things get themed together, but I'll let them slide because they're a really cool band. I've actually gotten to see Black Midi live. Shout out to my buddy Rick for getting me up there to Wisconsin to check that out. Anyway, hard to explain. You should really get into it, listen to them then. Like, if you want to compare them to like newer music, if you maybe know Black Country New Road or something like that, older stuff, I mean, could I say Peter Gabriel or something? Like, I don't know, avant-garde, experimental, post-rock. There's some chiller vibes too on some of it, but it is an art rock experimental album. It gets heavy and abrasive in some places. There's even some saxophone and horn getting thrown around in the band sometimes too. A pretty wild listen, but I highly recommend it. It's kind of funny, I really like their first two albums and I wanted to get this just on a whim, just knowing that I already liked what they've done. And I actually listened to it and I was just like, it's okay, it's good. It didn't land with me. Then I've listened to it like 2 or 3 times since then, and now I'm really into it. So not every time can you listen to an album and know if I like it. It took me a minute on this one, so. But I enjoy it. I enjoy everything they've done, so really cool to see another band of different types doing an Indie Store Exclusive release. Okay, and then the last one, this actually isn't out this week. I think this came out maybe last month or something. But my friend Jason actually turned me on to this, so thank you. The Petrol Girls, wow. What a year for music and indie bands and girl bands and stuff like that too. This is like this whole Riot Girl kind of re-movement. They're also, the new album Baby from Petrol Girls is on orange vinyl. This is an Indie Store exclusive. And you got a really nice insert on there too. This is on Hassle Records, so I'm not as familiar with that label. But this is a wild album. I mean, this is like some straight up like heavy 90s Riot Girl, revival from a younger group. But it's not just like, of course, we want to say Slater Kinney and stuff like that too. But there's some heavier parts that I would almost compare to more like Rage Against the Machine or something like that. Also, they're not scared to be throwing out some words and throwing out some other stuff that's been going on, up to and including, enslavement and murdering of women and things like that, and abortion and stuff like that. I mean, they tackle a lot on this album and do it with great musicianship and just a really good heavy passion and just a great sound. So it's a much thicker vibe. Like, this is a 180 from like Beabadoobee or something like that, which was a very, very chill, dreamy album and very indie rock. This is a much heavier album. It's still an indie rock, a punk rock album, and all that stuff too. But definitely a lot of deeper tones going on with this album. So cool to see the variety of different types of bands putting out these Indie Store exclusives and helping support the music culture, art culture, and independently owned record stores, just like Culture Shock. So we really appreciate that. We really appreciate the customers who take note of the stuff we're doing in our stores to have these types of records available, up to and including, used records as well, and other things from local bands and local artists. So definitely get out and keep supporting your local bands and local artists and live music whenever you can. Obviously, if you're going to be buying records or getting into records, please check. So first with your local record store. Even if you don't live here in the Illinois area around Rockford, you can check out our website at cultureshockshop.com. We've got these releases listed there in the staff picks section. If you browse around too, you can find like a place to pre-order upcoming releases. I'm sure there's tons of little details and notes I'd love to mention on these records, but sometimes it escapes me. We're just so excited talking about some new releases. So yeah, keep checking out the videos, and if you haven't seen the previous ones, go back and check those out too. Every Thursday we try to bring you a new vinyl happy hour talking about some of the releases for that Friday. Appreciate you much. Take care. Cheers.